Alright, so if you are still here, that means you got through all the technical stuff. I apologize for that, but sometimes it helps to know, like, our bodies are really smart. Our brains are creating this system for our survival, and anxiety is just showing that our body's working. So now I'm going to get into how we deal with this, how we cope. So the first technique I'm going to share is called grounding. Grounding is what we use to really get ourselves in the present moment. Anxiety, as I mentioned before, means we're having these symptoms due to a lot of uncertainty and things that we really can't control. So grounding brings us back into the present moment, and it gives us a distraction. Many people think that they can multitask and do two things at once, but really the human brain cannot do that. We're just jumping back from one task to the other so rapidly that it feels like we're doing it at the same time. So, for example, if we are worried about this pandemic, thinking about it, we add grounding to the mix. That's the distraction, and eventually our brain's gonna sidetrack and be more focused on what we're doing in the present moment. So, how this works is we use a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. And depending on where you are in your environment, you're going to pick what the 5 things are in the order of it. It will make more sense as I continue to explain. So right now, I'm at my parents' house in their kitchen. So there's a lot of things that I can see right now. So we're really going to stimulate the 5 senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. So sight's probably the easiest in this environment. If I was in a dark movie theater, and I needed to use this technique, I probably would do sounds as my 5, because you're picking 5 things for each of the senses, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. I don't know if this makes any sense, but hopefully it does. So I'm going to do this right now and use mainly things that are behind me so you can see how this works. So if I use 5 and I say that's my sight things, I'm going to pick 5 things that I can see right now. This is going to ground me to my present moment, and I'm not going to think about this virus. I can see the flowers, the rooster, the potatoes, the avocados, and the wine refrigerator. So those are 5 things that I can see in my environment. Now I'm going to pick 4 things that I can hear. I can hear the washer and dryer. I can hear my family doing a workout outside. I can hear my sister on her phone. I can hear the pool fountain going. Those are 4 things I can hear. Then I'm going to pick 3 things that I can touch. So I can feel my legs against the seat. I can feel maybe some sweat on my palms because I'm a little nervous. I can feel my hair across my face. That's good, that's 3. 2 things that I can smell. I can smell leftover bacon. I do not eat bacon, but my family does, so I can still smell that. And I can smell the wash, the laundry detergent. And 1 thing that I can taste: chocolate chip pancakes, vegan chocolate chip pancakes, just eat them. So that's how grounding works. While I was doing that, I was not thinking about anything else, minus finding items to identify. And now I know exactly where I am, not thinking about anything else. So that can be really useful. I know I've gotten a lot of comments on panic attacks and really high anxiety symptoms. So if you are in a place where you need to settle down, either trying to get a work task completed or driving, that exercise can be really helpful to calm yourself down. This second technique that I'm going to share is called belly breathing. Typically when we breathe, we use our diaphragm, our lungs expand and contract, and that is how we breathe on a day-to-day basis. So belly breathing is taking a little bit more concentration to do until you really practice at this. But this is shown to really calm the sympathetic nervous system down at a more rapid rate than just deep breathing and what a lot of people think can help anxiety. So if you hear noise in the background, that is my husband, future brother-in-law, and my dad working out and grunting. So there you go. So I'm gonna turn to the side to show this exercise. For belly breathing, when you inhale, you're going to push out your stomach for a deep breath. Your chest should stay flat and your stomach should expand. Typically when we teach this exercise, you're either laying down, standing can work, but it's hard to show sitting. So that's why I'm gonna use my shirt. So inhale, you're breathing, deep breath. You can hold it or you can just let it out. On the exhale, you're really constricting your abs. So you're tightening your core. Inhale, exhale. So that's belly breathing. Practicing that daily can really help with anxiety. For panic attacks, breathing typically doesn't work when you're all the way at the panic attack peak. So that is a really good exercise to use if you are starting to notice that you're getting symptoms of anxiety. So at the first sign, whatever it is for you, if it's sweaty palms, you feel your heartbeat picking up, practice that breathing first, and then grounding usually works better if you're in a real state of panic and you need to kind of tell yourself you're okay. Another technique is opposite action. So this one is really good if you start to feel nervous. Sometimes we can trick our brains into thinking we're actually excited. So if I start feeling jittery and my heart rate picking up and a little bit anxious, if I start telling myself, oh, I'm really excited because it's still the weekend, and I could just repeat that thought over and over again, I can sometimes trick my brain to thinking everything I'm experiencing, all these signals my body's getting is really me just being excited. I'm not anxious, silly brain. So that's what we're doing for that one. And then the last one that I'm going to share is being mindful of the things that we can control. So anxiety, fight, flight, freeze, sympathetic nervous system, all of that is really great when we're in danger. If we are, everybody uses the bear analogy. I'm trying to think, we'll just keep using the bear analogy. So if you are in a forest and you see a bear, fight, flight, freeze mode gets you to act on the situation and increase your chances of survival. So in that situation, you need to respond in order to survive. You need to either freeze, you need to pull out something to defend yourself on the bear. Anybody seen The Revenant? Something. So I apologize for this pause in my explanation. My camera died, so I had to wait for it to recharge. But basically I was talking about our fight, flight, freeze mode and how it's really useful when we are in immediate danger situations. With this virus, however, this is a prolonged crisis that we've been experiencing. So being in that situation every single day isn't very effective. So it all comes down to what we can control. When we're faced with the bear, we have to act and control that situation in that moment. In situations like this, all we can really do is, make sure we're maintaining the same type of schedule and washing our hands and doing all of the things that we've heard on the news and as reports come out on what things we can do. It really helps feeling like we have a sense of control, but there's a lot that's out of our control in this situation. So this last coping skill and tip is to just focus on the things that we can control, and that will help minimize our anxiety. An example of this I always think of is test taking. So have you ever had to take an exam and you studied for the material, you thought you prepared, and then moments before the test, like you're about to write it and it says, and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, I know nothing, I'm gonna fail, like all of those thoughts that we have, and in that moment we have no control. We can't look at our notebook again, we're about to take this exam. So we feel helpless and we just say, okay, this is out of my control. And a lot of us have that moment where we're just like, all right, I'm gonna do the best we can. So that's kind of like what we need to do in this situation, not the worry part, but just really accepting, okay, I'm gonna do the best I can, I'm gonna stay as healthy as I can right now, and that's all I can control. So to set aside everything else and just worry about staying healthy the best we can, social distancing, increasing our physical health, picking up a new hobby, maintaining sleep. I'm going to get into all those tips now, but focusing on what we can control really helps. So now into the next segment, I'm going to talk about how to maintain our mental and physical health through this whole experience. So I'll list several tips and go through those with you.